I'm Ethan 30 to male, and my boss insulted me in front of everyone, so I became his competitor. It wasn't about spite, not entirely. It was about proving him wrong, about reclaiming my worth, and building something truly mine after years of being undervalued and publicly humiliated. What started as a casual disrespect eventually became a burning catalyst for my biggest professional leap. For 5 years, I poured my life into Mr. Caldwell's tech company, Caldwell Solutions. I started as a junior developer, fresh out of university, and climbed my way up to senior software developer. I loved coding, loved solving complex problems, and genuinely believed in the company's mission. I was the guy who stayed late, who came in on weekends, who took on the impossible tasks and often delivered. My projects were frequently singled out for praise, though the praise rarely came directly from Mr. Caldwell himself. He was a man who preferred to bask in the reflected glory of his team's achievements. The pattern of disrespect from Mr. Caldwell wasn't new. He was a demanding, old-school CEO who ruled with an iron fist and a sharp tongue. He'd often belittle ideas that weren't his own, even if they were brilliant. I remember once I presented a streamlined solution for a recurring software bug that had plagued us for months. He barely glanced at my meticulously prepared presentation, cut me off mid-sentence, and declared it overly complex and unnecessary. 2 months later, he announced the implementation of an innovative new solution to the same bug, describing it in terms that were strikingly similar to my original proposal, taking full credit. Another time, after I'd pulled an all-nighter to fix a critical system crash just before a major client deadline, he walked past my desk the next morning, saw me slumped over, and just said, "Looks like someone can't handle a little pressure. Ethan, get some sleep, but make sure your work doesn't suffer." No thank you, no acknowledgement of the crisis averted, just a veiled insult. These were minor cuts, but they chipped away at my morale. My friend and former colleague, Lena, who had left Caldwell Solutions a year ago to become an independent tech consultant, had always warned me. "He'll bleed you dry, Ethan," she'd said. "He only cares about himself." I should have listened sooner. The dismissive comments and credit snatching became a predictable part of my life at Caldwell Solutions, a low hum of disrespect that I tried to tune out. Mr. Caldwell had a talent for making you feel small, for reminding you that your value was only as great as your immediate utility to him. He'd frequently make cutting remarks about my capabilities, or even personal choices in front of others. Once, during a team lunch, he publicly questioned my decision to pursue a certification in a niche programming language, scoffing, "What are you going to do with that, Ethan? Become a code librarian?" The team chuckled uncomfortably, and I felt my face burn. His favorite tactic was to belittle my ideas, especially if they were ambitious or challenged the status quo. I had a passion project on the side, a concept for a new project management tool that integrated AI to predict potential roadblocks. I'd casually mentioned it in a brainstorming session, thinking it might spark some corporate interest. Mr. Caldwell laughed openly. "AI for project management? That's a pipe dream, Ethan. Stick to what you're good at, which is writing basic code, not dreaming up fantasies." He made it sound like I was a child. I watched as others, less talented but more adept at office politics, got promotions and recognition that I knew I deserved. My dedication was exploited, my loyalty taken for granted. I started feeling like a cog in a machine that didn't just ignore my contributions, but actively diminished them. The quiet resentment began to simmer, a slow boil that built beneath the surface of my professional composure. Lena, my former colleague and now my unofficial mentor, noticed the change in me. Whenever we met for coffee, she'd see the exhaustion in my eyes, the frustration in my voice. "He's draining you, Ethan," she'd say. "You're too good for that place. You have innovative ideas. You just need to be somewhere they're appreciated." Her words resonated, but the fear of the unknown, of stepping away from a stable job, kept me rooted. I kept telling myself it would get better, that my hard work would eventually be recognized. I was wrong. The boiling point was fast approaching, a public humiliation that would finally shatter my complacency. The breaking point arrived with a crushing public blow that reverberated through the entire company. It wasn't just another casual insult. It was a deliberate, calculated act of humiliation designed to discredit me in front of everyone who mattered. We were in the middle of a crucial client presentation, a make or break moment for a multi-million-dollar contract. Our team had spent months preparing, and I had personally led the development of the core software solution we were showcasing. The presentation was going smoothly, the client looked impressed, And I felt a flicker of pride then, during the Q&A session. A senior client executive asked a highly technical question about a specific component I had designed. I began to explain, confident in my expertise. Before I could finish, Mr. Caldwell cut me off, stepping in front of me, effectively blocking me from the client's view. "Ethan, perhaps you're overthinking this," he said, his voice dripping with condescension. He then turned to the client with a dismissive wave towards me. "Our junior developers, while enthusiastic, sometimes get bogged down in the minutiae. The real answer is much simpler, and I'll explain it." He proceeded to give a simplified, slightly inaccurate explanation, then added, "You see, sometimes you need the experienced hand to steer the ship, not just someone tinkering with the engine." The room went silent. My face burned. He had just called me a junior developer, me, a senior software developer who had led this entire project. He had implied I was incompetent, overly focused on minutiae, and incapable of understanding the broader picture, all in front of major clients and my entire team. It was a blatant, public discrediting of my intelligence and dedication. The insult stung more than any other. It wasn't just about my professional standing. It was about his complete disregard for my dignity, his willingness to throw me under the bus to make himself look better. My colleagues avoided eye contact, clearly uncomfortable. The clients shifted uneasily. The presentation finished, but the damage was done. I felt an overwhelming sense of shame, but beneath it, a cold, hard anger ignited. Later that day, Mr. Caldwell walked by my desk without a word, leaving me simmering in the humiliation. I looked around the office at the same walls, the same faces, and realized I couldn't do this anymore. This wasn't just a bad boss. This was a toxic environment that was actively destroying my self-worth. The fear of leaving, the fear of the unknown, suddenly seemed insignificant compared to the fear of staying and enduring another moment of his abuse. In that moment, the seed of something new, something defiant, was planted. The humiliation from the client presentation didn't fade. It festered, transforming from raw pain into a cold, hard resolve. Mr. Caldwell had shown his true colors, revealing a boss who would not only take credit for my work, but actively dismantle my reputation in front of crucial clients. I couldn't stay, but simply leaving wasn't enough. I needed more than just a new job. I needed vindication, a way to show him that his actions had consequences, that I was more than just his junior developer. My mind, usually focused on debugging code, shifted to a new, exhilarating project, my own company. This wasn't a snap decision born of anger, but a realization that had been simmering for months. My side project, the AI-integrated project management tool that Mr. Caldwell had scoffed at as a pipe dream, suddenly didn't seem so fanciful. I had poured countless hours into it, refining the algorithms, building a prototype in my spare time. It was innovative, truly unique, and I knew it filled a genuine gap in the market. My secret blueprint began to take shape. Leverage my network. My first step was to reach out to Lena. She had always believed in me, understood the corporate landscape, and had successfully transitioned to independent consulting. I called her that evening, my voice still trembling with residual anger, but also with a newfound determination. I laid out everything: the public humiliation, my decision to leave, and my nascent idea for the project management tool. She listened patiently, then her voice, firm and encouraging, cut through my doubts. "Ethan," she said, "this is your moment. You have the skills. You have the idea. I'll help you." She agreed to be my mentor, offering advice on business development, client acquisition, and even investor relations. Stealth departure. I knew I couldn't just walk out. I needed to plan my exit carefully, ensuring I didn't burn bridges unnecessarily or violate any non-compete clauses which, fortunately, my contract with Caldwell Solutions lacked in my specific role. I began quietly updating my resume, reaching out to old contacts, but primarily focusing on building the business plan for my own venture. I continued performing my duties at Caldwell Solutions without a hint of my true intentions, working on my project management tool late into the nights and on weekends. Refine the product. My side project became my sole focus outside of work hours. I refined the UI, tested the AI algorithms, and started mapping out a minimum viable product MVP. I envisioned a tool that wouldn't just manage tasks, but would proactively identify bottlenecks, predict budget overruns, and even suggest resource allocation, all powered by intelligent analytics. It was everything Mr. Caldwell dismissed, precisely because it challenged traditional manual project management. secure seed funding, and a name, Lena connected me with a few angel investors. She knew individuals open to innovative tech startups. I started preparing my pitch, honing my presentation skills. I decided to name my new company NexusFlow, symbolizing the connection and seamless flow of information that my tool would provide. The process was daunting, exhilarating, and terrifying all at once, but every late night, every complex line of code, every hour spent on market research was fueled by the memory of Mr. Caldwell's sneering face. This wasn't just about a new career, it was about a deeply personal act of vindication. He had tried to break me, but he had only succeeded in forging me into something stronger. My resignation from Caldwell Solutions was met with a lukewarm "good luck, Ethan," from Mr. Caldwell, delivered with an air of indifference that only solidified my resolve. He had no idea what was coming. I spent the next 6 months in a whirlwind of development, fundraising, and strategic planning. Lena was an invaluable guide, navigating me through the complexities of launching a startup. She helped me refine my pitch, connect with early-stage investors, and even advise on legal aspects. We secured a modest seed round of funding, enough to rent a small office space, hired junior developers, and pour all our resources into completing the minimum viable product MVP of NexusFlow. The AI-powered project management tool was everything I had envisioned: intuitive, predictive, and truly transformative for teams struggling with complex projects. It wasn't just a task manager, it was a smart assistant that learned from project data, identified potential risks before they materialized, and offered actionable insights. The launch of NexusFlow was a quiet affair at first, a soft rollout to a select group of industry professionals and beta testers. We targeted tech forums, project management communities, and independent consultants. I focused on showcasing the unique AI features that set us apart from traditional tools, emphasizing efficiency and predictive power. The initial feedback was overwhelmingly positive. Beta testers raved about its predictive analytics and intuitive interface. "This isn't just a tool, it's a game changer," one early adopter exclaimed. Word of mouth began to spread. Fueled by genuine enthusiasm for the product, tech blogs picked up on the buzz. Intrigued by the disruptive AI in project management, my LinkedIn profile, once a quiet chronicle of my employment at Caldwell Solutions, became a hub of activity. Connections I hadn't heard from in years reached out, curious about NexusFlow. Many of them were former colleagues from Mr. Caldwell's company, people who had witnessed his oppressive management style firsthand. They remembered my ideas, my dedication, and they were eager to see me succeed. Caldwell, I imagined, was oblivious. He was too consumed by his own empire, too confident in his established position to notice a small, nascent startup, founded by someone he had publicly dismissed. He saw me as a junior developer who couldn't handle pressure. He saw me as a minor annoyance, not a threat. But NexusFlow was slowly, steadily gaining traction, building its own momentum. The quiet hum of success was starting to get louder, a buzzing that would eventually become an undeniable roar in his own backyard. The initial buzz around NexusFlow quickly escalated into a roar that Mr. Caldwell could no longer ignore. Our user base grew exponentially, driven by positive reviews, word-of-mouth referrals, and the undeniable efficiency of our AI-powered tool. We were signing up small and medium-sized businesses, then larger enterprises, all seeking a more intelligent approach to project management. The headlines started appearing in industry publications. NexusFlow, the disruptor in project management tech, AI-powered tool threatens industry stalwarts. The stalwart they were referring to was, of course, Caldwell Solutions. Mr. Caldwell's company, while established, had been slow to innovate, relying on its legacy products and brand recognition. His project management software, while functional, was clunky and lacked the predictive capabilities that NexusFlow offered. The unavoidable clash came during a major industry conference. Both Caldwell Solutions and NexusFlow had booths in the exhibition hall, and I was giving a presentation on the future of AI in project management. The auditorium was packed, far more than I had anticipated, and I could feel the energy in the room. Mid-presentation, I saw him, Mr. Caldwell, flanked by a couple of his senior executives, standing at the back of the room, his face a thundercloud. His eyes, usually dismissive, were now filled with a mixture of shock and simmering fury. He recognized the concepts, the terminology, the very essence of the pipe dream he had scoffed at. I looked at him, met his gaze, and for the first time, I felt no fear, only a quiet, resolute power. I continued my presentation, delivering every point with newfound confidence. After my session, as I was swarmed by attendees eager to learn more about NexusFlow, one of Mr. Caldwell's former clients, Mr. Davies, from Global Innovations, approached me. He had been a loyal client of Caldwell Solutions for over a decade. "Ethan," he said, his voice low, "I'm impressed, very impressed. We've been struggling with Caldwell's outdated system for years. Your solution, it's exactly what we need. We'd like to schedule a demo for Global Innovations as soon as possible." A chill went down my spine. Not of fear, but of profound satisfaction. Global Innovations was one of Caldwell Solutions' most lucrative, long-standing clients. This wasn't just a new client, this was a direct blow. The news of Global Innovations exploring NexusFlow spread like wildfire through the conference, reaching Mr. Caldwell's ears almost instantly. I saw him talking animatedly with his executives, his gestures agitated, his face pale. The tables had turned. The insult, the dismissal, the public humiliation, it was all coming back to him. Delivered not through anger, but through the undeniable power of innovation and competition. The signing of Global Innovations as NexusFlow's newest client was a pivotal moment. A public declaration that my pipe dream had not only come true but was now directly threatening Mr. Caldwell's empire. The news sent shockwaves through the industry. Competitors whispered, former colleagues celebrated, and Caldwell Solutions felt the undeniable pressure. In the months that followed, NexusFlow continued its meteoric rise. We secured more major clients, expanded our team, and our software continued to evolve, consistently outperforming Mr. Caldwell's outdated offerings. The irony wasn't lost on me. The very qualities Mr. Caldwell had mocked, my dedication to innovative coding, my focus on complex solutions, were the bedrock of NexusFlow's success. I never sought a direct confrontation with Mr. Caldwell. I didn't need to. His humiliation was evident in every industry report, every client acquisition announcement, and every thinly veiled swipe he made at new, unproven technologies in his public statements. He was forced to acknowledge my existence, not as a junior developer to be dismissed, but as a legitimate, formidable competitor. One day, I received an anonymous email, clearly from a former colleague still at Caldwell Solutions. It contained a leaked internal memo from Mr. Caldwell, urging his teams to study NexusFlow's features and accelerate their own AI integration. The memo was filled with a sense of urgency, even panic. A stark contrast to his usual arrogant tone. It was a silent admission of defeat, a testament to how profoundly I had impacted his business. My professional life blossomed beyond my wildest dreams. I was no longer just a developer. I was a CEO, a visionary, leading a team that truly believed in its mission. Lena was now a key advisor, celebrating every milestone with me. The revenge wasn't bitter, it was sweet, seasoned with satisfaction and personal growth. I had taken the most painful professional insult of my life and transformed it into the greatest triumph of my career. Mr. Caldwell had tried to break me, to diminish me, but all he did was push me off his ship and into my own, far more successful voyage. I proved my worth, not by seeking his approval, but by building something better, something that spoke for itself, and that, truly, was the ultimate payback. After listening to today's story, perhaps it has raised some new questions in your mind. Every day on Reddit, new experiences and moments create fresh stories. We are all human. If you enjoyed this story, feel free to share it. Thank you for your time. And don't forget to keep an eye out for more stories coming soon.